Again, this is Laurel Silk at Silk Web Consulting and Development, an e-learning design company based in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. In this video, we're going to talk about how to create folders in Blackboard. Folders are an important organizational structure for your course content, and definitely a key feature that you can use to rapidly organize your materials online. So let me go ahead and log into Blackboard Learn. Okay, and I'm going to go into the course that I'm working on throughout these tutorials. Okay, so you'll see on the left-hand side in the course menu that I do already have several folders here that I've created. So I'll go with you step by step to create this set of folders that you can use. There's also an alternative in the folder structure. So if you have several weeks left of your course, or if you're looking at these videos and trying to plan ahead for the next semester, you may want to follow what's called a modular or a week format, wherein instead of having an assignments, discussion, and reference material folder structure, you may have a modular folder structure. So for example, module 1 could equal week 1 and would include all of the assignments, discussion forums, reference materials, readings, and lectures for that particular week. That is actually how I choose to run my online courses personally. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to go with more of a shortened folder structure. A lot of faculty members actually use this for their regular online courses as well. But the reason why I'm choosing to use this now is to help many of you to get your content organized online now. So you're a lot of times pushing that face-to-face faculty content online very rapidly, and this particular structure will help you do that. In our last video, we talked about setting up virtual office hours, so I won't touch that folder. And then announcements is a default folder used in most Blackboard Learn platforms, so that's something that's already created for you. If for some reason you do not have an announcements section in your platform, I will also do a short video on how to create that for you, because that's a really good asset to have in your course. But the purpose of this video is to create those folders. So let's go ahead and just jump right in with that. So the first type of folder that we're going to look at creating is called a content area. So I guess it's more of an area than a folder, but it looks like a folder. It's assigned to the menu. So what we do here, there's a little circle and a plus button, and we would select content area from this drop-down menu, and then you can name your content area. So I usually name this course content, study materials, readings, however, whatever language feels intuitive for you for your classes. If you have a lab class, you might want to create a lab folder, and so I'm going to maybe put lab content here. You want to make sure to make it available to users. If you forget to check that box, I can show you a little shortcut to actually make it available, but you will check that box and then click submit. Okay, and you can actually show and hide these particular links here, so you can rename them. If you click on rename, it will allow you to rename the folder, and then you would click the X button to go back to the original, or you can just click the checkbox. And then you can hide the link. So what happens when you click hide the link is it gets a little X near it, and it's just showing you that's not going to be available to students. But in this case, I want to show it, so I'll click show link, and then that updates and that little X in the box goes away. So I'm going to move my lab content up a bit higher. I'm going to put that below assignments, and then I will go ahead and click within the lab content menu item. And here you can see, so from this particular menu, we can then create or add in our content. So you can build different content items. You can link out to a web page or URL. You can also input assignments or tests within this, and then use any of the Blackboard tools within this little lab content folder that we've created. So I have my structure here, assignments, lab content, discussions, and I'm going to go ahead for the purposes of our tutorial and delete the discussions forum so that I can show you how to re-add that. Because discussions are actually a tool used within Blackboard Learn. So it doesn't require the creation of its own content area. It's simply a tool link that you can name yourself. So we'll go back to the little circle with the plus mark, and we're going to select tool link. So instead of content area like we did with our lab content, we select tool link, and then it gives us a pop-up link, or excuse me, pop-up box. And we can select the type of tool link that we want to create. So I'm going to select discussion board from this, and then I will just call it discussions. You can call it discussion forum, discussion board, anything that really has the word discussion in it for the purpose of what it is, so people understand. And then click submit. I'm going to again move it underneath my lab content. Okay, and then when you click on discussions, you'll see that it is an area where you can create a forum. So the first forum that we will create here will just be a question and answer forum. Okay, so that's an easy one that we can create within this folder. So I'm going to say this is a general course Q&A forum, and I will direct my students to post their questions in this forum. Please use this forum to post questions to the instructor regarding regarding the course content. If you have questions regarding due dates, please first refer to the course syllabus, right? That's always a great statement to remind our learners of. So then I can scroll down and just show you the options. So it's going to be available. You can enter time restrictions, but this is a really general forum, so I'm going to leave it open for the duration of my course. So there's really nothing that I have to do in terms of the due date. There's no grading in my Q&A forum, so I'm going to leave that as just no grading in forum. And I'm just doing a standard view. If this was something for a grade, I would probably want to see my students first create a thread before they post to or respond to other students. But I'm going to leave all of these as defaults. And then I just click submit, and I have my forum. So again, every time you create something, you should go ahead and enter into student preview to see what that's going to look like for your learners. It bounces us into announcements, as we know, and then I can click on discussions, and then you can see general course QA forum. Okay, and then this is a hyperlink. They can click on that, and it will take them into the forum. They can also click on this drop down, and it's just going to give them the option to open up the forum. So those two things do the same thing. And then if I want to create a thread, I would be required to put a subject, a message, and then you can attach a document. So it could be a document, or maybe your student has an image file. They took a picture from the textbook that they had a question on because they maybe don't know how to interpret a graph's data or something like that that has to do with your course. So I'm just going to say, quick question. Okay, and can you please explain the data on page 56 of the text? Okay, so we're just kind of making up that question. Okay, there we go. And if I wanted to, I could snap a picture of that and upload it with it, and my instructor would see it. And then I'm just going to click submit. And what this does is it posts my thread, and it will notify my instructor that there is an unread question in the Q&A form. And I would advise that you check this a couple times a day on class days at least. I try to respond back to my students during the week within 12 to 24 hours. And on the weekends, I will usually respond to everything by Sunday evening, unless there's a big assignment that's due earlier than that, and then I'm checking it more often. And the nice thing about this is you'll see that it will help cut down on your phone calls with questions or your emails as well, because all the students can come here, see the questions that were posted, and then see the answers. So it helps to just clarify the issues for all the class. Okay, so the next thing that we'll look at in terms of creating folders, let me go ahead and exit out of the preview mode and go back to our list of folders. So you may or may not have noticed that the folders that don't have content in them yet don't actually show for your students in the student preview, which I think is nice. So as you're working and you're creating your folder structure, that's one of the first stops that you're going to do. And you don't have to worry about not yet having materials in those if you're currently running a class, because they're not going to see the blank folder. Only you are going to see that. Once you start loading materials in there, then of course they'll have access and they'll be able. So you can again choose to build any type of content that you would like within this particular folder. One thing I would advise against is to create a folder within a folder, because what happens, it can be very confusing if you have content that's deeply buried within your course, for students to be able to locate that. And even sometimes you may forget where you posted something. So I advise against doing this unless you have a lot of material. Maybe if you have 20 handouts, you might want to start categorizing those handouts into subfolders. That would make it helpful, and that would be an instance of when you would want to use subfolders. But for the most part, I think for most instructors, they're probably not going to need those subfolder structures, but they are easy to create and they work very similarly as they do to the course menu folders. Okay, well, that is how you create folders in Blackboard Learn. If you have any questions, feel free to visit me on www.silkweb.com and fill out the contact form, and we will answer questions. And if you have any ideas for how we can improve our videos, feel free to include that as well. Thank you.